All right, so with a firm grasp of temperature, now we can also use temperature to drive actual combustion, also again known as the combustion model. Um, Combustion model, it's got to be turned on the pyrosolver itself, but the real main thing that we need is to add fuel into this. So how do we add fuel? Right now, we're sourcing density and adding it as density, meaning smoke. What we're actually going to do instead is add it as fuel. So now we're not adding any density in, and we're not adding any velocity in. I mean, this says add to field vel, but we're not reading in a vel, and remember we turned it off here. So real quick, before you even press the play button, the combustion model is fuel and temperature yields a burn field, which shows exactly where those two things interacted, those two things being fuel and temperature. It's going to yield more temperature into the existing temperature field. It's also going to yield a heat field. Heat field is Houdini's extraordinarily unfortunately named field, which actually just means flames. It's where flames should be visible, is the heat field. Why they would have a field called temperature and a field called heat, which essentially means temperature, I don't know. Perhaps somebody could enlighten me. Maybe that's an old term that's commonly used for flames, but anyway. And it's going to yield smoke into the density field, which is, we normally would have added density in ourselves. Now, this combustion is going to create, again, a burn field. It's going to create a heat field. It's going to add to the density field. It's going to add to the temperature field. It's also going to do divergence, which we've done in previous lessons. It's going to do expansion. And that expansion will actually also drive velocity. So that's the combustion model in a nutshell. We got it here. We're ready to go. So just press play as usual. And there it goes. Now, it's hard to see right now, but you could definitely see it ballooning like that. And I press stop. We go back. We can see it. It's ballooning. It's exploding in a sense. And why can we barely see it? Well, because you recall, we're only visualizing the density right now. Now we have flames. There should be a ball of fire in the middle of that. But we don't have any way to visualize it. Oh, actually we do. We have the multi-field. The multi-field will show us more than one field, aptly named, at a time. I'm going to turn on a bounding box and a bounding box hash. The hash just means the little tick marks along the side so you can see how many voxels it is. Press play. Still won't see anything. In fact, you'll see less than ever. That's because the defaults are garbage. There literally are no defaults in here. So what should the density field be? Well, maybe it should be density. What should the diffuse field be? Well, that should probably be density also. I'm going to just say real quick, like, boom. We just want it to be one color. Let's make it something like that. I don't know. Maybe. And again, this is just the visualization on the Pyro nodes here in the simulation. This is not going to be stored in the volume. Cool. And then we have emission, though. Emission scale is at 0. We set this to 1. Now at least has a fighting chance of showing it. The emission field itself. Now this is important. Heat. Heat, again, is the flames, which is different than temperature. So now you can see it's filled in with that... we lost it. It's filled in the center. So now we have the smoke and we have the flames on top of it. Now it's just bright white right now. It's not so great. So what do we want? What else we need? We need emission color field. So the color we typically drive from the temperature. So we know where the flames are by where the heat field is, and we know the color of the flame is by how hot the flame is. This will play a big role in this. So right now it's going from 0 to 1. Because we're constantly adding temperature in, it's actually much higher than 1 now. So you can look at this. What am I doing? Well, I'm increasing this number here. I don't even know which number I'm looking for. I'm just middle clicking and dragging on the ladder. Typically we want like a bright core, and then it fades out. So you can see white to black, so white to black. I don't even want to use this ramp. There's a preset, is black body radiation, which again is kind of like what we had before when we were visualizing the temperature. You can obviously set your own ramp here, but this should be fine. So now if we press play, we're starting to see the beginnings of an explosion. Again, this is generating smoke. Now we don't see any smoke just yet. It is around it. It's just being overpowered by the actual the fire itself. Now this obviously looks like, it doesn't look very good. And now we're going to spend the rest of the lesson getting our explosion to look good, and it will look good. But this is how it starts anyway. Cool.